3 seconds. Bogey for the win! Bogdanovich! If you don't like that, you don't like Kings basketball. Oh, boy!
Without further ado, let's get into our first topic. We'll start with the Game 7 of the NBA Finals, aka the last sacrifice of the Pacers. So, Don, why don't you get us kicked off?
I think Halliburton, he got off to a good start. He went like 3 for 3 from three in that first like 5 minutes, and then fortunately just popped his Achilles. And like I remember you could see his Achilles snap, just like KD. So just think it was really unfortunate.
Yeah, I think like it's I think you never want to see like the asterisks on any kind of finals win because it's kind of like this kind of it damages the whole everyone's legacy and all that. I mean, there's been so many finals lately that have had asterisks on them, and it's just kind of I think a lot of people people still will blame it and say, oh, it's not a true ring, it's a Mickey Mouse ring. But I think injuries are a part of the game, unfortunately, and the team that can stay the healthiest is the team that is the best.
I kind of agree with that, but at the same time, it's like you said, Andrew, if a player, it's not like the other team's fault that like the other team's like best player is like getting injured and stuff. Like you could go on and put asterisks on like every single NBA championship because there's like at some point in the playoffs, there's probably some like for example, like if Fox doesn't break his finger in 23, who knows? The Kings had a shot there,
I
making
think
a
Harrison
nice run.
So
Harrison Barnes, yeah, there you go. There's your asterisk. The Kings go on to beat the Warriors. They beat the Lakers, take the Nuggets to 7. You never know. Like Miami wasn't anyway. Stuff like that. I think you can try to qualify every championship, but at the end of the day, I think Halliburton started off hot. I think it would have been a close game, but I think the defensive firepower that the Thunder have would have been too much. Like obviously players start off hot, but like Halliburton, even if he doesn't get hurt, he's still playing on a bad leg. So eventually you're gonna scheme. You're gonna start putting a guy high up, start blitzing him. Force him to pass, and that works to the Pacers' favor a lot of the time. But if you don't have that guy, your closer taking all these shots, you never know what happens. So I think the Thunder were the deserved winners.
yeah, and like the game was still pretty close. Like it was like a 1 point or 2 point game at halftime. It was like the Thunder couldn't score. It's just like Shea and Jalen Williams, they could not score. The Pacers just have like good role players that they were doing fine without him, like TJ McConnell. He was going crazy. So he carried them. He had like 14 or 16 straight points at one point. I didn't even know how he was scoring. He was just like going downhill doing his fadeaways. I don't know. They just couldn't stop. He did it like 5 straight times in a row. They couldn't stop him.
Yeah, I was just gonna say like, yeah, the game was close at half, but you think eventually, I think the Pacers are up until halftime they're kind of running on that high of like
we just lost our best player. Yeah.
Play without Halliburton.
Like we gotta.
Yeah, like it's still but like after halftime, then things start going back to normal, and when you don't got your star player, just the Pacers offense was just completely non-existent. Like can't TJ McConnell trying to run the whole show is just not going to be consistent enough scoring to get you through the games. Even though like Shea wasn't shooting that well anyway, but it's a dogfight in the finals. So
I'm just surprised that like Siakam didn't really do that much without. I thought he'd be like the guy that'd step up, do most of this.
The problem with the Halliburton injury is that the Pacers, they have like two legitimate like isolation scoring threats in Halliburton and Siakam, and everyone else, Nembhard, I guess too, to an extent. Everyone else is like kind of just they can score, they can get downhill, but they're not offensive creators. So when you put all like now you can throw all of your defensive pressure, essentially throw the kitchen sink at Siakam. You don't have to worry about Halliburton, finding the open guy anymore. So that probably makes it much harder for Siakam to be like the best version of himself. Obviously, Game 7, you expect him to do better, but it's definitely not easy with your like sidekick or your the other half of your duo not playing. And you know, going back to TJ McConnell, like I think the reason he works like putting him in works so well for the Pacers is because one, he doesn't play that many minutes, like 15, 20 minutes a game, and he has a crazy motor. So, he just comes in, like runs around like crazy. You can't really stay in front of him on the defensive end, which is what makes it so hard to guard him. But which is why that works, because you let him run your offense a little bit, get some buckets, and then you put Halliburton back in to get your normal offensive like flow and rhythm back. But when you entrust him with running your actual offense, you can't like he's not. You realize that there's a reason this guy's coming off the bench and he's not starting in this league. It's because he's not a good enough playmaker to be your number one guy. So
Yeah, I think he had like 6 or 7 turnovers.
yeah, he had a lot of turnover. Like, after he stopped scoring, he turned the ball over a crazy amount.
But they just took him out, which I would do the same. He just turned the ball over like every play. So
I think he reminds me of Malik Monk, actually, not because of they're like similar players in terms of play styles, but just because of the energy he brings. But like the same thing you see with Monk is like with Fox gone, when you put Monk as like your point guard, like you don't see him. He's not
yeah,
as good
he's
of a
not.
point guard as he doesn't as he seems when he's like coming off the bench, just
Yeah,
because it's like more pressure,
yeah,
that
and
kind
he's
of thing.
playing against more skilled players, against more starters.
Yeah,
He just comes
exactly.
off the bench, scores like 10 points, against bench guys. That's why he plays
Yeah,
so well.
yeah, for sure.
Um, yeah, I think the Thunder are just they're on a good pace for like being a potential dynasty in the future, but I just think they have so many good players that they can't pay everyone.
Mm.
Like Jalen Williams extension is going to be a lot. Chet's extension is going to be a lot. The other role players like Luke Dort, Hartenstein, Isaiah Joe, Caruso.
Wallace, Wiggins.
Well, yeah, it's going to be hard to keep every single one of those players.
I don't think they'll be able to, just because of the
Oh,
the new CBA.
yeah,
Because once they start approaching that second apron, kind of like the Celtics did, you know, I thought the Celtics would keep their team together for longer, but you're paying what Tatum 60 mil, Jalen Brown 60 mil. Like
yeah,
if the Thunder, like if Shea and J Dub and Chet are willing to take pay cuts, then they could sustain that level of winning. But if they're not, like they probably have to go through a transition period where they have this window until these guys are done with their rookie contracts. But then after
yeah,
that, you're like you gotta refactor, I suppose.
yeah. I could see like one of the two of like Dort, Caruso, and Casey Wallace going to be gone definitely. So
Now let's talk about the draft that just happened. Obviously with the draft lottery being a little dubious in
Rig,
terms of,
it
I
was
mean, you
rigged.
said it, not me. You said it, not me.
It was
But
rigged. No way you trade the top 4 or 5 player for
I
AD,
said
Max
top three
Christie,
player.
top 3 player. Yeah, you handed the first round pick, who's like first overall pick, who's supposed to be a generational talent. I don't know what kind of deal
Least
that
deserving like first round selection of all time.
Tom Silver and Nico Harrison had, but it's
This is a team that made it to the second playing game too. It's not even with some like
boy,
not even
unbelievable.
like a 25 win to like a 15 win team.
Like the Jazz were the worst team. They had the 5th pick. Makes no
I
sense.
feel bad for the Jazz and the Wizards.
I
Like,
know they were tanking and they got the 5th and 6th pick.
dude,
Yeah,
yeah, I
If
mean,
they're purposely tanking, then the lottery kind of helps prevent like tanking, I guess.
but like, I don't see the issue in like, but like, what's the point of like, why do the teams tank? Because their team, there's no way their team can be like good though. Like, what else are you just supposed to try to like win? Like, what's the point of going like 30 and 52, like ending up with like come on Malawach or something after the draft. Like he's not saving your franchise. Like the reason teams tank is because I feel like they're just not good enough. I feel that's fair, right? Like NFL, like the worst team gets the.
That should be fair.
I feel
It's
that's fair. Like
the Mavs had like a less than 1% chance of getting the first overall pick and they got it. So
I think that the point of the draft is to restore parity because you can't you're supposed to like if a team can't compete, you're kind of giving them that boost through the draft. But like if you're not getting the most out of that draft, it's just like then the Mavs did not deserve that. But
yeah,
anyway,
the Mavs, or imagine if the Spurs got the first pick, like Wemby, Fox, and Cooper Flag would have been crazy.
yeah,
So
yikes, yeah.
I don't even know how the Spurs even got the second pick. I think that's also a big shock because they weren't even that bad last year.
Yeah,
Like,
they were in playoff contention until Wemby went down, I think.
yeah. So they were one pick away from getting Cooper Flag. So imagine Wemby and Cooper Flag.
And Dylan Harper is a hell of a player too.
Yeah,
He's a
he's
serious
a good
player.
player.
Harper, Ishka.
Yeah, so like
Yes.
some like draft player comps for some of them, like the top 10. Like, so who do you guys think like Cooper Flag is like comparable to?
More Keith Morris. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, the
More
thing
of a-
about him, he's not like a super, it's still got a lot to develop with his jump shot. Obviously he's a good slasher, and I think after watching March Madness, he was a pretty good playmaker with throwing lobs and all that to Malawach. So I don't know, it's kind of hard. I mean, he's a good defender too. So you think a little bit of Kawhi, I mean, especially if he can develop that jump shot and be a true like two-way player. But I don't know, it's just kind of hard to tell.
Yeah. I see a lot of like Tatum. I see a lot of Tatum in him too. Especially the playmaking. It's like an all around forward. Definitely not the best shooter, so maybe he needs to, like you said, take some time to develop his jumper, but I don't know, he might have like some like defensive player of the year if he gets like to Kawhi's level, getting a lot of blocks and steals, guarding the other team's best players. So we'll see.
I don't see him as much of a. I mean, I think he'll be a great wing defender too, but I see him more of as like a rim protecting type of guy, just because he's like pretty tall, pretty vertical. I think an example that comes to mind, I don't know, is like Kevin Love, I'd say. Just like a power, it's like a weird kind of left field type of comparison, but like, if the playmaking doesn't necessarily develop past, he's 19, so I think it will. If it doesn't develop, I think he's someone who can be like a strong presence at that like 4 spot next to AD where he can rim protect, he can guard 1 through 5, he can get downhill and he can shoot and he's already a solid playmaker. That's like an interesting comparison I was thinking of, but like that's kind of like the worst case I'd say, just given the amount of hype. So I think I agree with Tatum.
Yeah. All right. Dylan Harper. I think he's kind of like a Cade Cunningham, like a bigger guard. He can play shooting guard with small forward, and he can play the point. But they already have Fox. They probably won't have to do as much ball handling. But
Castle too.
yeah, and Castles. But I think he could still have that Cade Cunningham, or I'd say like a bigger Jalen Brunson too. He can he's a good mid range. Can get to the basket. He's strong. So and he's pretty tall. He's like 6'5", so he could play a 3 too. Third pick to the Sixers was VJ Edgecombe. He's really athletic. I saw a couple clips of him. He dumped on some guy. It was crazy. He's pretty athletic. I'd say he's like Oladipo. That's the most common comparison that I saw.
Yeah, I've seen it's kind of like a bigger Westbrook, which definitely with athleticism. I think kind of like Flag, maybe even more. He has a lot of work to do with his outside shot, which especially if you look at Westbrook now, that's kind of like kind of leave him open for threes. So I don't know if they'll get the same way until he can develop a shot. But yeah, it's just something. But he's I think I've heard he's at least I was hearing while watching the draft, he's a great defender. So yeah, they can always use good perimeter defenders. So I think it'll probably really help out the Sixers, and especially if the Sixers are fully healthy this year, they could do some damage in the East, where the East has damaged itself with
And
all
maybe
those guys
finally
that are
get past the
injured.
second round.
We'll see. I mean, with Maxi, Paul George, Embiid, Quentin Grimes, it's like it's a good.
I don't know if I think
I mean,
Quentin Grimes is on his way out. I think some stupid team's gonna pay him 30 mil like he's asking for, or 25 mil or whatever. And
he gets 30 million. I don't know. It's a lot of money.
He's a good player, though. I mean, I don't know.
he's a good scorer. He's a good scorer.
They got a good young core.
Yeah, definitely. Edgecombe, the one interesting thing I saw is I think his measurement was like 6'4", 6'5", which is much smaller than people expected him to be. It is interesting because I think he played the three in college, so he might be a little undersized, but I think he has the athletic tools to be a successful player.
Might
He's
be
got a
like
cool name too.
Edgecombe, yeah.
Yeah, he's got a cool name. I feel like cool name, good come up story. I think he's gonna be successful. I think he's
Yeah,
gonna
he's
be
from the Bahamas too. It's pretty cool.
yeah. He's got aura. He's got aura. I think he's gonna be good.
Yeah. Okay, number 4. I was kind of surprised, but Con
Mm.
Kneppel.
That boy can shoot that ball.
I never would have thought
He's a-
he'd be the 4th pick watching March Madness, but
He's got a beautiful jumper.
no.
Very fundamental.
Yeah. First guy in, last guy out type guy. What are some like player comps you guys have for him?
I think JJ Redick is the baseline.
Yeah.
Just because, like, if
Bigger-
all
bigger
else
dude,
fails, again, I think he was also shorter than expected. I think he's like 6'5", so I think he's maybe slightly bigger. JJ Redick's like 6'3" maybe. His playmaking is like all right. I saw his highlights. He was throwing these lobs to their big guy. I think there's like a little left to be desired there. I think the baseline is Redick, but I could see him, like, if he gets a bag, he'd be like a Devin Booker type of player. That's like a ceiling type of thing. I don't know though.
I see like Gordon Hayward if he gets a bag. Looks like better shooting than Gordon Hayward.
Yeah, I wouldn't imagine it just like a spot up shooter like Redick, but because it does seem like he has some playmaking ability. But I don't know if he's like his scoring ability will take him to as far as Devin Booker. I don't see his. I mean, I guess you never know, but
You never know.
I
Yeah.
don't see it getting that high. Maybe.
Yeah. I was thinking like Bradley Beal too, just because like Beal is like, I mean, when he got to the league, like he was like pretty much like he was just a shooter, like, kind of a combo guard type of guy. But I don't think his bag was all that. But I think he can get to be like a solid like 20 points, 20 plus points per game type of guy.
I just thought he's also like kind of slow.
Yeah,
Might
that's
be fun
true.
for defense.
Yeah.
I think this will be a good player. Just with the 4th pick,
Yeah, it was a little reach.
that's
That's kind of a
fine.
reach.
it's kind of a
Definitely a
reach.
reach.
Especially on the Hornets, they're not going to be contending anytime soon. You take like
Yeah.
a guy who's like a pro ready type guy.
hmm
It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on in Charlotte.
Yeah. And then number 5, we have Ace Bailey to the Jazz. All the stories around him, all of this, like his media day, he did not look like he wanted to go to the Jazz. Like, pissed. Didn't even have a workout with any team. But
I mean, who'd want to live in Utah? I don't blame him.
he does not definitely fit a Mormon,
I mean, I don't even say Utah's that bad. Like, it's nice place, but like, yeah, I don't know if that's really probably a change of pace for him, I guess. But I mean,
Yeah.
like, I don't know, like, it's kind of confused what he really wanted. Like, he wanted to be like the the face of the team, but like on a good team, or was it like
On
you
a
could be
bad
the face of the team on
Bro is not
uh,
that guy.
That's
yeah,
like
you
that's
could be
like
the face of the team on Utah, but I don't know, like
Yeah,
maybe
wants
it's
to be
not
the
like
face like the face of the Wizards he wanted. I don't understand.
why the Wizards? Like, what's the
No.
difference? Like, they're both like kind of cooked. There's a
Yeah.
location, yeah. I guess in TCA is probably better than Utah, but like, I feel like if you're getting paid, it's not that deep. The culture matters. I feel like Utah doesn't have a terrible culture. Danny Ainge is a good GM.
Utah still lacks a lot of talent, so they don't really have that trade value yet. And they're kind of similar to Sacramento, where no one really wants to go to them in free agency. So
I think they have some talent. Like if they in terms of if they were to trade someone, they could get value from Markkinen and Collins. I think that's about it. I think
So
Keontae George, George would have a little value, but they're probably gonna hang on to him to see if he pans out.
I think like a player comp I saw for Ace Bailey is like Michael Porter Jr. The thing is,
Is he a good shooter?
he's a good shooter and scorer just in general. But he's a little
is he a
shorter.
good shooter?
I thought it was like taller.
I wasn't sure if he was that good of a shooter. I thought there was some concerns with his like kind of outside shot.
Uh,
Um, maybe I'm looking at something else, but um, I think we should move on. Let's just skip to the 10th pick because I know Skanda has some words to say about him. That is Kalawach. Skanda, go ahead, take it away. What's your thoughts on Malawach?
I think like all my thoughts are probably encapsulated in that Final Four game. Probably one of the taller players in, not only college, but like probably the United States. You get like what 2 rebounds in that game. Just no ball control whatsoever. Cannot hang on to the ball. Looks like my fantasy football tight end, whoever I end up drafting every season. Like just cannot hang on to the ball. Cannot grab a rebound. Like what? You're 7'2". Like what are you supposed to do? And I get he has a good story. He's South Sudan. Like geez, credit to him for getting out of that country because it's a mess. But just I mean, I get that he's on the younger side and he has time to develop, but I think that's one of the things about the draft is like, these players might not pass the eye test in college, but they end up developing and I hope he develops. He's got a nice story, but just from what I saw, it seems like I think he's gonna be a bust. That's my opinion.
yeah, I'm just not that impressed. He's like really athletic, really lengthy. It's
I think
just
at
the,
best he could be a good like rim protector, like a Rudy Gobert type of guy. He
yeah.
kind of reminds me, it's like a klutz, like clumsy, but
I
you
can
never
see like
know.
Capella too.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Capella. I saw that kind of the lob threat, um, and maybe some decent rim protecting, but I wouldn't say he's gonna be. Maybe I'm wrong, but I wouldn't say he's gonna be much of a isolation post type scorer on his own. But he could develop.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
this guy was born in 2006, so like you never know. Like he could end up panning out. He's a pretty young guy.
So we're gonna move on to all the major trades that happened. So the first trade I'll talk about is the Rockets getting KD. The Suns got Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks. The draft rights to Malawach, and 5 seconds. I think the Suns could have gotten a lot more, especially Jalen Green's fit with Booker and Bradley Beal is a little weird. So I'm interested to see what they do with Jalen Green or they might keep him. But I think KD on the Rockets is definitely a good fit. They needed that like go-to scorer in the fourth quarter, so I think he definitely can do that.
Yeah, I think that Phoenix and Houston trade, like I mean Phoenix is kind of still stuck at the Bradley Beal no trade clause hole, and now they got guards, they got bigs, they got Mark Williams and Malawash now, so that's good for them because they need younger players and guys that aren't on expensive contracts, but I think they're still just gonna be similar to the Kings, honestly. They're kind of going to be stuck in that, not the worst team, but like not playoff team either. So they're that's not going to get super high draft picks, and they just have to spend so much money on these contracts that they have. But Rockets, they could be contenders after getting good playoff experience this year. And now with Durant, they might be able to at least go to conference finals.
I think I definitely agree with that. I think this is a great trade for the Rockets. Adding that true like alpha scorer to their team, which they were like so clearly missing in the playoffs. I think that's gonna go a long way. I think you'd expect Amen Thompson, Jabari Smith, if they keep Cam Whitmore, guys like that to take a leap offensively as well to give more support to KD. So I think they're gonna be a contender for sure. As for the Suns, I'm not a huge fan of Jalen Green. I'm not a fan of Malawach, as I said previously too. But I think Jalen Green is a shot chucker. I don't think he's got enough of a bag to. I mean, he's still a young guy, but I don't think he's enough of an offensive threat to, to make the Suns notable. Obviously, the Suns are getting worse. I don't think they're gonna make the playoffs next year.
Okay. Moving on to the next major trade that happened, we had the Magic getting Desmond Bane, and Grizz getting KCP, Cole Anthony, and 3 first-round picks. I think for the Magic, it's like a good fit next to Paulo and Franz. So I think the Magic will definitely be making a run in the playoffs next year in the East. So I think he'll be a good fit for them. He's a good player, good shooter, decent defender. He can do a lot of good things for them, especially they were like the worst 3-point shooting team. So I think he'll really help in that part.
I think I think this is just them doubling down on their duo of Franz and Paolo, and hoping they take that next step, kind of like Tatum and Brown did, where they're like truly like one of the better duos in the league. I think they're completely buying into that. I think that's a fair approach. I think they've got a hell of a starting five, and I think adding Bane and drafting Jace Richardson as well, they've made some upgrades to their shooting. So I think they will be a team, especially in the weaker East next year. I think they'll be a team to watch for sure.
Yeah, I think Suggs and Bane, Wagner, and Paulo's a good core to have. Then moving on to the next trade, the Blazers getting Drew Holiday and trading Anthony Simons to the Celtics, which I think is just for cap reasons. Holiday's going to make like 40 million, close to 40 million. And the Celtics just don't have the money. So I think it was a good trade on their part. And I think Simons can, provide that offensive spark now that Tatum's going to be out.
I think they're trading Simons. I'm not going to lie. I don't
really
see why they would keep him.
So looking at one last trade that's happened so far, we have the Pelicans receiving Jordan Poole and Sadiq Bey, and the Wizards receiving McCollum, Olynyk, and a second-round pick. I think Pelicans, even with Jordan Poole, I don't think it's going to be pushing them over really any bump. I don't really think they're going to improve that much. Who did the Pelicans just draft?
Derek Queen.
Yeah, Zero Fears as well.
Yeah.
Oh, both now. Okay. Yeah,
a good draft haul.
So now we're going to move on to our very own Sacramento Kings and talk a little bit about the news around them and what we think our predictions are, predictions on who's going to get traded, and maybe free agency guys that they're going to target. So let's move on to the Kings.
I think we can start by talking about the draft as well, as to what the Kings did to kind of bolster their roster. I think for what it's worth, I think the Kings had a great draft. Picking up Nate Clifford, from what I've heard and from what I've seen, he looks like he's a really solid player. Solid two-way guy, can play 2 and 3, can play make. If he can get that jumper down, if he can stay at least an above average defender, I think he'll be a really solid pickup for the Kings. And then Raynaud, he's probably more of a wild card, but if he gets that offensive consistency, and if he can be a rim protecting threat, I think that'll be a really good pickup for the Kings as well.
Yeah, he averaged 9 rebounds, like at 6'6" a game. Pretty impressive. It's a good shooter, shot 38% from 3.
I think the Kings really need a rim protector. A guy that is above 7 feet, but isn't the capability of, say, Alex Len or something like that.
Yeah.
They just need a guy that's not Domantas Sabonis, who is just too undersized for a big man. Sabonis was 7'3" and had that same bag, it'd be a lot better. But it's just,
What bag?
he's a good player. He gets a lot of rebounds.
It's not why.
Oh,
There's no
his
bag.
his bag that he doesn't have would look a little better if he was a little taller.
I would look a little better if I was a little taller too, but I'm not, so here we are.
I agree.
I think a good player comp for Clifford is like Jalen Williams, like at his ceiling, like, bigger guard, can kind of do everything. So that's like a ceiling. His floor is probably like a Keldon Johnson or Josh Hart type players, hustle
Nah,
guy.
I think his floor is Colby Jones. Like this is a
X
this is a
game.
this is a late first round pick we're talking about. Like there's a reason he fell this far. I think one because he's a much older guy. He's 23. So he's kind of like probably approaching like the best he's gonna be. So he's either gonna be good and he's gonna help the team or he's not. So I think the floor is just like he's like terrible, but I think the ceiling is like he's an impactful player.
Yeah, I think this kind of depends on how good the Kings develop him. I kind of question the Kings development staff and all that. They just, I don't know, hasn't been too successful in the past with their other guys that they've drafted that could have been good, but just haven't really panned out.
I think of late the development has been getting better. If you've starting with like Davion and Fox, Halliburton, those three guys in particular. But that could also just be because they're like actually like good players as well. Not as much to do with the Kings' development.
We're just not good at developing. That's
I mean, they
thing.
got Keon Ellis.
Keon Ellis, what a player! He's gonna
Love
be
Keon.
all defense. I think he's the one player that Kings fans like unanimously like love. I think next year it's gonna be 13. But I think Keegan's got to get that consistency offensively. Just because of how high of a draft pick he was. For everyone to really, buy into him. But I think as big a Keegan fan as anyone.
Keegan just needs to develop that bag, just like Sabonis. Just can't dribble, can't
I
really
think
create.
my issue is that like if you saw this kid play in the summer league, I don't know why I say kid, he's older than me. If you saw this guy play in the summer league 2 years ago,
13.
After the,
13,
if you
13.
saw 13 play in the summer league, this dude genuinely like looked like he had a bag. Obviously, it's much worse comp. But like, if this guy like getting DeRozan as great as DeRozan is and as great as like LaVine is, like these guys are hindering his development. Like, if you want this guy to be at what you expected of him, which is an all-star two-way type of player, like you need to put the ball in his hands. Like, forget winning and losing. Like, you're not winning anything with this roster. Your ceiling is like getting to the 8th seed somehow, and getting swept in the first round. I don't think DeRozan's the answer. I don't think LaVine's the answer. I think you say screw it. Let's win 22 games next season. Let's put the ball in Keegan Murray's hands and Devin Carter's hands and Keon Ellis, I suppose, and all of the other young guys, and just see what happens. If that means Sabonis doesn't want to be involved, I think you flip him while he still has value. It seems like people have forgotten how ass he was in the playoffs and the play-in and whatever. So if you can flip him for a couple draft picks, I think that's more than enough. But I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts about that as well.
I think we should just blow it up. Just trade DeRozan, trade LaVine, trade Sabonis. I'm just tired of consistently being in the same area every single year. I don't want to see us go to the play-in again, lose. Sabonis gets like 10 points and 12 rebounds. That's his ceiling in the playoffs. Just like puts up empty stats in the regular season. He's a good regular season player, but in the playoffs, he's
Good floor raiser, but he's not
he's
gonna
just
be hitting
terrible in the
clutch shots. Yeah.
Like the only way he scores is like off putbacks or running the floor, or like this random post ups that he has, chucks it up. If you
You
compare
should
him
hear
to
how
like
the go ahead.
if you compare it to like other centers, he's just not skilled at scoring at all. Like to Şengün's a good scorer. To Embiid, obviously Embiid's a better scorer.
Yeah.
Jokic is playmaking is only
Fish.
that's comparable to Sabonis, but
Yeah. He's an elite scorer. He's a 30
Sabonis
points a
has,
game guy.
Sabonis has
My
no
issue
touch.
thing about
No,
Sabonis is like if you hear like these like commentators like Katie Christensen talk about this guy like, oh, Sabonis is so strong, he's like the strongest guy in the league, like Shaquille O'Neal called him the strongest guy in the league. Then you see this guy like you put him against like 6'7" Draymond, like 6'8" Kevon Looney, or who's on the Mavericks, like you don't like Daniel Gafford, like Anthony,
Gafford.
like the softest guy in the league, Davis, like Najee Marshall, like this guy is like shaken up so easily for some guys. For someone who's like expected to be strong, like he's incredibly soft. I don't think like in the regular season you can get away with being soft because the refs are gonna call it. But the moment that degree of physicality increases, he just like loses any touch, any semblance of touch or finishing ability he has. And maybe he still grab a couple of rebounds, but it doesn't help if you like flip it off with your like right hand and that shit just misses. It's not a good. I don't know if it's a conditioning thing. I don't know if it's a mentality thing, but it just is not there for Sabonis.
he just can't score.
Can't score in
That's
the playoffs.
can't score.
Like anyone can bully like
Yeah, you kind of come to
like
think that.
Donatis, like Monte Eunice or something in the regular season. Anyway, I could score too if like Jonas Jerebko was guarding me.
Yeah, you kind of come to think that like all those, he puts up so many triple doubles. He's had that super long streak or whatnot, right? And can leading the league in rebounds. But you kind of come to think like, some of those just like empty stats. Just not.
Absolutely.
They are easily. So, what are some like potential trades you guys would like to see for the Kings?
Zach Levine for a bag of like hot
No.
Cheetos.
No, not even hot, man. We got to go regular Cheetos for that.
Yeah.
Stale regular Cheetos. I
Hopefully
think for DeRozan,
some
I don't know what DeRozan's trade value is at this point in his career.
you think some desperate team, maybe some team that desperately needs a wing scorer, a playoff team maybe like that has an injured guy like the Celtics, maybe would make a trade for him, but I don't know. It's just like whatever trade
The
is.
only
you're not
trade
gonna
I
get
could
much.
see happening then is like I think if there were to be the Celtics, we'd probably get like Anthony Simons in return, like because DeRozan's probably a rental for them. They don't need Simons because Simons is on an expiring deal. I could see them moving DeRozan to like a sixth man type of role when Tatum's back. They
I feel
maybe throw in like a 28 first or something.
his ego would not be able to handle coming off the bench. Same thing with Levine. We can't pay Levine $40 million to have him come off the bench. So we're kind of stuck with him.
I would love to bring Levine off the bench actually. I think that would be great. Because then you can start
I think he's still he's still a good player. He's still a fringe all-star at his peak. So you can't bring him off the bench, I think. Especially making $40 million a year.
I think you either bring him off the bench or you just like trade him because like I don't see a winning timeline with Zach Levine. I think he's a fun player. Like he has his moments, but just like the fact that he doesn't play defense and he's not a good enough like shot creator and playmaker to be a number one option on a successful team. I think those two things are just like you'd rather like defer to like someone younger and see if you can get something out of that as opposed to what you're gonna get with this guy and it's not success. So that's my take.
Yeah, I think to wrap it up, I kind of feel like when watching the finals, the Pacers weren't like a excellent defending. They don't have like guys that are, I mean, Siakam, is of course, it's good length, but I don't, their whole team isn't like super special, defenders, long wingspans, all that. So I think what what they just did, the Pacers would work so well is just put so much more effort in. And when you have a whole team of guys that actually put effort in on defense, you have such a great defense like they did. They really turned it up in the finals and the playoffs. So I think the Kings need to, get a roster with guys that probably are younger, that actually want to play defense. Levine, DeRozan, those guys just, they're just not willing to, put in. They're just only looking at the offense and not putting the effort on defense. So I think they really got to do some restructuring, which I think they're confident that they're going to start doing.
I hope so. I think the one thing the Pacers had, like you said, is heart. And you see Sabonis, there's like nothing. It's like the guy, like the Tin Woodman from The Wizard of Oz. Like this guy has no courage, no grit, no resilience. All these intangibles you'll hear these like players talking about, like after like these like post game interviews. Like Sabonis has none of that. And so like you need dogs. Every single guy, Andrew Nemhard, that dude is like the most like he'll give you the most like brutal like 10 points per game. Like he'll leave like everything on the court, like on the offensive end, defensive end. You saw Mathurin, down 20, trying to will them back into the game. You don't see that with Keegan Murray. Keegan Murray he got this like the same expression no matter how the team is doing. Like he just like he looks like he doesn't want to be there. Like you need players to buy in. You need players to like leave it all out there, which the Kings don't have. And I get it. Like why would they? Like Fox just got traded. Your owner's a dumbass. Like what reason do they have to buy in? It's a culture thing, I think.
Any last statement on before we wrap it up here?
Oh, like some like potential like rumors that I saw was like Russell Westbrook to the Kings. Which, what you said think about heart. Russell Westbrook has a lot of heart, a lot of hustle.
I think he's also like too like washed. Like you need young guys who have heart.
Nick, he might lose us some games, but I think that's a good start to bring some hustle to Sacramento.
I wouldn't hate that actually. Just because like he is a dog. He definitely like he's a good leader and stuff. I think a Westbrook, like that 0 Westbrook jersey for the Kings. I don't know if he wears 0, but Westbrook on a Kings jersey would be kind of hard.
I would, yeah.
I would probably get that. I'm not gonna lie, but yeah. I mean, if you have a bunch of young guys and you have Westbrook, I think that'd be good. But if it's like DeRozan, Westbrook, Levine, and Sabonis, like I would
imagine like line up with Westbrook, Levine, DeRozan, Keegan Murray,
this disgusting hoops. That's just
I'll take good money for that.
you could like that would be on like the CIA or the FBI's watch list is like the terrorist watch. Like it's just like that's terrible basketball. Like James Naismith did not create the game of basketball to have Westbrook like throwing bricks and like throwing the ball like 10 rows into the stand and like DeRozan playing ISO ball, Levine just like I don't know, like sitting at like the in and out on like 2 miles away from the stadium.
Like Keegan's just in the corner, just doing nothing.
Keegan doing a crossword puzzle, probably doing the daily Wordle or something. I think Keanu is getting like 12 minutes a game, leaving it all out there.
I think after having to watch a game of that, I'd want to walk down K Street at night. Yeah, after the game and
they would spare you.
Happens because
I think there'd be better players on K Street.
Because they know what I'm dealing with it.
I could find a better defender off the street than Levine. So I just think Westbrook would bring some excitement, but I think it would be an interesting fit.
It'd be excitement for like 2 games, and then he'd start like dropping the ball into the stands, and then like every fan base has done for the last like 6 teams he's been on. Everyone inevitably they'll turn on him.
Yeah.
But I do love Westbrook. I think he's a great player. He was a great player. I think he's a great guy. So, like, what's the point of all this? Like, what do we watch basketball for? Do we like how many teams win the championship? I think the vibes are what it's about. And the
And the
vibes would be
vibe, it's not good.
It's
It's
not
terrible.
good.
I mean, all we want is just a little playoff run, something to get happy about. Don't gotta win the finals. Just give us a little taste of something. Okay, a little more than 1 year though, not just 2023, but uh
Like every team has done it in the West too. Like, what team has not had a run like at least to the second round? Like the Blazers had that Dame Lillard and CJ McCollum era where they used to make it. Like the Jazz had
Pelicans made it.
Pelicans with Holiday and AD made it to the second round. Like Memphis with those Zach Randolph teams, even those John Morant teams, they made it. They made a couple runs. Houston obviously with Harden, and they're about to make it again. Dallas is gonna be really good. I think we're the only team that's like incompetent in the West. I guess the Hornets are on the same boat as us.
At least they
But
have a good young star, and we have 13. So we're
hey, no 13 disrespect.
13 is not going to be anything.
Just
I can't
keep
wait another year for him to be good.
keep talking down on 13 name.
I can't wait. I've been promised a Kawhi type breakout. I just haven't seen it.
Bro, it's not his fault. Put the ball in 13's hands. 13 will deliver.
13's
That
gonna
is my
dribble the ball off his foot, and it's just gonna be a recurring thing.
Alright.
thank you guys for listening to our first episode of the F-Town Pod. Stay tuned for more episodes and be sure to check out our YouTube and Instagram and TikTok for more highlights from our videos and other quiz videos that we do. And stay tuned for more. Thank you guys.
Thank you guys.
Thanks.